Rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem. A vision of two cities. While we worshipped at the beginning of the meeting, I saw a beautiful city, surrounded by walls. The city was bustling with life as people engaged in their daily activities. People from other cities were coming to it to buy, sell, and conduct other business. The city was clearly a commercial hub, and I had an impression it was Babylon. I knew God's people were also living in this Babylon, and that God had sent them there, like he did Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, who had lived in Babylon for a long time and maintained their relationship with God. They had not worshipped Babylon's gods, nor had they been idle. Some of them were involved in trading, while others were involved in administrative work, like Daniel had been. I was taken to another city far away from Babylon. This city looked dilapidated, with its walls broken down. Anyone and anything had access to it, and those who lived there were shabbily dressed and looked very malnourished. I had an impression this city was Jerusalem, symbolizing the church in its present state. As we continued praying, I heard the Lord say it was time to rebuild Jerusalem. He went to Babylon to call his people who lived there. He wanted them to gather their possessions and leave Babylon for Jerusalem. They were the ones he intended to use to rebuild Jerusalem and help the wretched people there. Many of those who lived in Babylon, however, were unwilling to return to Jerusalem. They had built comfortable lives for themselves in Babylon and did not want to leave anything behind. Also, the resources they had gathered in Babylon were meant to fund the rebuilding of Jerusalem and help those in need. They realized that returning to Jerusalem would mean hardship and loss, so many of them refused. Although they had not worshipped Babylon's gods, they had grown comfortable and forgotten Zion, Jerusalem. Yet, I knew that God would rebuild Jerusalem with those who obeyed, no matter how few they were. Those who refused to leave Babylon would be judged with her when the time for her judgment came. Possible interpretation. 1. The state of the church. Much of the church, especially long-standing denominations and gatherings, are now like the broken-down Jerusalem. They began gloriously, but have deteriorated into a vulnerable, impoverished state. Anything and everything now has access to them, and the people in them are spiritually malnourished. 2. God's unconventional training of his servants. God is training many of his servants, not through traditional seminaries or Bible schools, but through daily life in the world. They maintain vibrant relationships with God as they work in various fields: nursing, engineering, business, and more. At the appointed time, God will call them to leave their comfortable lives and minister directly to the church and to communities in need. However, many will resist because of the sacrifices required, and in resisting, they will move from obedience into disobedience. 3. God's will shall be done. God will get the number of people he needs to get his will done, irrespective of many who will disobey him. 4. A call to remember and pray for the body. We must never forget the body of Christ. We must look beyond our personal spiritual state to that of our brethren and those in other churches. Keeping in mind the terrible state of many churches and praying for their restoration will help us be sober and not fall into the same state. 5. Hold things lightly. Pastors' repeated scriptural admonition to hold things lightly came to mind as the only way to give them up at a moment's notice if God demands them. 1 Corinthians 7:31. And those who use the things of this world as if not dependent on them. For this world in its present form is passing away. 26th April 2025. Brother C.U.K. Gamwatch.